Hey, this is Scott Snyder, and you're watching the Sci-Fi Center.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
There is no such thing as a happy Monday for most people, but hey, happy Monday anyway. And welcome to what I was not expecting to be happening tonight. We are 2 days away from San Diego Comic-Con 2026 version, and we're about, another 4 days away from the Hall H presentation, where I thought is where I would see what we're about to watch in here in a couple of minutes, and that is the trailer. It's a trailer, all right, but barely. It doesn't give you shit as far as what this movie is about. It gives you the villain. It gives you some dialogue, meaning dialogue. It shows you the main principal character, shows you some conflicts, but there's something complicated about how they're doing this that I don't know if they can put into a full-on trailer right now, because I think this movie is laced from beginning to end with spoilers and really big moments that I don't know if they can get away with not screwing it up for themselves. And the Russo brothers are real big on things like that not getting out. Usually they are. So but the trailer showed us Doctor Doom, it showed us Captain America, it showed us the main people that will be the crux of this movie, and it showed us some of the old Fox. I mean, we knew X-Men, the old X-Men were going to be in there. It did not show us anything that will be coming from the UMCU. I think we're a little bit further away from that one, but hey, it is what it is. I'll bring in Brad, and then I'm going to answer some. We're going to go ahead and watch. This is not going to be a full-on blown show because I wasn't even planning this. This was I'm surprised that they did this on the Monday before Comic-Con, but I don't mind. I'm not a big exclusive guy as far as like, oh, I was able to see it before. If I'm able to see it before you, that's fine. But I generally don't like when things are kept from the masses. I don't like so that's why I think CinemaCon's a joke. These things will ride or die on whether Joe and Jenny Average are hyped about them, and I always think that as soon as you can get them involved and get them as part of your hype machine, you should do so. So I'm kind of happy it showed up today. I don't know if that's going to be less traffic for I can hear myself. I think I might be you. I don't think it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be less traffic for us to deal with in Hall H. Who knows? What were you about to say, Brian?
I was going to ask, did you also want to go into a little? I mean, I know you said you didn't want it to be a long show, but did you also want to go into the whole thing about like the merger, having like the judge like temporarily pause to like I think August 3rd?
I would, but it was so obvious that what was going to happen. I mean, I would. I'm not one of those. I'm not a you're right guy. I'm not a guy. But guys, I'm not a legal expert. I've sued people and I've been sued. All right, so I know.
Really, you never told me that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, you told me about like what you might have had to do, like the moving the side.
Yeah, I won. I won in both one was the suit against me was thrown out of court. I'm not going to go into the details because it was stupid, and that person ended up having to pay for me taking time off to go down for the ridiculousness. And then the other one got dropped because once the person realized that I was really going to do this, we reached an agreement somewhere else. So I know I don't know everything about the legal system, but a lot of it is common sense. And then when you run out of common sense, then you hire a lawyer. But of course they were going to sue, and of course there was going to be an injunction because the grounds that they are suing for are legitimate grounds. Even if Paramount, like I said, even right now the odds are that this goes through. But like
I was going to ask, what do you say? Does this do anything for the odds? Because there was also the report about like the shareholders also kind of getting in on this, which that kind of threw me for a loop about. It's like, okay, now the
WB shareholders are going to get paid no matter what. See, the WB shareholders don't have anything to lose. Paramount they're the ones that are doing the paying. Warner Brothers, I think, they get what, $7 million, some obscene amount of number, but that's coming from Paramount shareholders' money. So the one thing, you know what? Maybe the time is the enemy of all this. Borrowed money is borrowed time. So it could be the point where some of the shareholders, enough of the shareholders, think, you know what, this isn't worth it. So I still think the odds are in the favor, but it's decreasing with every day. Let me get this trailer up here, and we'll go ahead and talk about that. Like I said, I thought it was a good first step, but I like, for me, trailers are qualified as far as having the premise and everything. There's no premise in this trailer. That's what kind of makes it barely a trailer. So making sure sound is good. Hold on, because sometimes let's see. Stream artist Scrimmy. Here we go. The Xavier School.
Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision.
That's Dr. Doom's voice.
I've fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one. Everything that they sacrificed will be for nothing if we do not stand together. Put aside your petty squabbles and presume nothing except this. If you return, you will return as brothers and sisters. But mark my words. We're going to need a miracle. Hey, pal.
I love this part here. Yeah, this part is like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Because he's like checking, is it really you? It's not Loki playing around with me. Yeah, Holly Jolly Christmas.
All right. That trailer had its moments. This was a first step, so I'm not going to be too harsh on this.
It's like
obviously we don't have
a highlight reel more so than a trailer.
Yeah, it's to get us geeks talking like we're talking now. We have time to get another trailer in, plus whatever they're going to release. I think they're not only going. I don't think they're going to show this trailer again. I think we're probably going to get a different trailer, or we may get some footage. We may get some footage like they've done before.
I think.
And interviews. So
yeah, that ending. I mean that when he you hear his voice and then Thor just like lifts the hammer up and because
Yeah,
he's
are you
thinking
for
like,
real?
okay,
Yeah.
is this Loki or is this and of course that's
By the
playing
way,
off.
who's that's a very important snippet in there. Loki holding the TVA. I believe that that is Loki using the power that he got at the end of season 2 of Loki to
That was Loki there, the Captain
yeah.
America. Oh,
No. I'm talking about when Loki's on the
okay,
train and he
gotcha.
has that TVA card in his hand. I think Loki is going to recruit people because he understands what Doom is going to do, because he can see it all from his point of view. And when Doom is saying you're going to have to make an unimaginable decision, it means they're going to have to sacrifice universes. In that picture that's in my thumbnail, that's something that I think he's lost a kid or something's happened to where something he loved either no longer existed. Somebody did something. Maybe it's Captain America or some other variant did something that caused him to become a variant and to lose something. So I don't think Doctor Doom will be an enemy immediately. Obviously, throughout the movie, you see Thor coming up on his ass. He will be, but I don't think they'll understand truly what Doctor Doom is once you first see him. But they gave you all the modern people that you wouldn't see. I mean, people seeing, if they would have shown this in a theater, soon as
That hammer scene alone, I mean, the
Captain
hammer
Run would have got the.
well, because the hammer scene in Endgame was like one of the biggest cheer moments I've ever heard in my life. So.
And plus it's A-list again. This is why when people tell me that comic book fatigue, I tell them go jump off, stop it. When they tell me that Marvel's going through this, no, Marvel went through a period to where you didn't see the A-listers. This trailer had all the remaining A-listers are there, all of them, even Robert Downey Jr. Even though he wasn't Tony Stark, that's him. So I love what this trailer represents. It's a first step, and like I was telling you guys last night, the one thing that I have not gotten out of anything that we've gotten from the DCU, and this is not just a jam on the DCU, is when I'm watching this, I have a sense of awe, and I've had that since 2008. Not everything that the MCU did turns out okay, but there was even Captain Marvel, which I thought was not a very good movie. The trailer for Captain Marvel had me with a sense of awe. And even though that movie wasn't that great, the movies around it were. You were on a wave, and this continues that wave. And it's just the first piece. This is just, the thing about where they are right now in 2026 is they don't need to give you a big detailed anything. They're one of the few franchises that don't need to give you a premise. You know damn well people are going to be there whether they know what the fuck this movie's about or not. They are going to be there. And now other trailers, other newer franchises or franchises that haven't really done as good as Marvel has, they got to give it to you. They got to let you know, hey, this is what it's about. This is why you need to be here. Marvel doesn't need to do that anymore. So here we have a trailer that really doesn't have a lot of meat on the bone other than some fight scenes and, but all of this shit is out of context. It's out of order. There's probably scenes that don't mean as much as you think they do. And there's other scenes that do, that are completely out of context, but that's fine because they've delivered already. They've been delivering since 2008. So 18 years of this. So I think it was just fun. It was fun to see that build up. It was fun to hear that score. Although I will be happy when we're no longer using the Avengers as the main cog to tell their stories. I want to see the new generation that they have. I want to see stories told from the point of view of the FF, Spider-Man, and the X-Men. The X-Men have some world, global, galactic stories that I know I'll never get this. But man, if you give me an X-Men movie about the Shi'ar Empire, I'm there first day. So all right. So that Doomsday trailer was personally underwhelming. It pretty much was the Comic-Con trailer, CinemaCon trailer.
Yeah. Well, again, like
hold on. Let me finish reading. That we already heard about. I'm guessing that they will release another trailer in a couple of days for more. Now, the trailer you're talking about, if there might be a longer trailer sewn up, and that's what they might release at Comic-Con. All right, go ahead.
Well, I was saying it's like, I almost classify this more as like a highlight reel than
it's almost a teaser.
Yeah, like meant for marketing more so than a trailer, because it's not like giving you a lot of story beats and add case in point, like the final scene there with the Captain America with the hammer, which again, that's obviously playing off of the end game, seeing him getting the hammer. So yeah, and it's got moments like Shang-Chi fighting Gambit in it, which that looks pretty awesome to me. And
Now the millions and millions of people who did not go see Shang-Chi can now figure out. You're going to ask me, who's that guy? And I can tell you now, because you probably should have seen that movie when it came out. But all right, it wasn't an A-lister, I understand. Now he's rolling with the A-listers. You got to go see Shang-Chi. You got to go see Rings, or, because a lot of people didn't go see that movie.
It
did okay, but it didn't do what an A-list Marvel movie
It did like about what the like a phase one like pre-Avengers one did.
Like 2008 number, but now it's different.
But what else is it gonna? And there's also a lot of people that we know are in this movie that are not in this trailer.
Yeah,
I mean, and it feels. I don't know if it's like going to be reflected in like the finished movie. I don't know if they've said anything about kind of who's the kind of the tip of the spear and all this, but it feels very Thor centric. It feels very Thor,
which I think is misdirection. I think it's misdirection. And by the way, his speech sucked. That speech was shitty. I'm sorry, it just sounds shitty,
dude. It's like go back 4 years when I was Love and Thunder. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean solo Thor. I love Thor with the Avengers, but solo Thor hurts my ears and my eyes. Did they really try with Downey? He's seen, but we saw snippets, dude. He's playing Doctor Doom. Come on,
and he's only in. They don't even show him like with the. How's it with he's not in that trailer unless I missed the one with the helmet off. It's all with helmet on, right?
Yeah, but I think you're going to see his face. Well, I know you're going to. I know you're going to see it. I think Namor Wakanda Force stuff should be its own movie. Well, it kind of was already, with Wakanda Forever. And I think you're going to see a very different Wakanda and a very different Black Panther after Secret Wars. So, hello, Duckman. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't planning on it until I woke up, and I think Film Junkie had posted it.
Yeah.
And then one of you guys sent it to me in a trailer. I was half asleep when I got up, and I saw this because I wasn't expecting it today. So I was pleasantly surprised. And, I just love this feeling. I love that if I could bottle that feeling and take it up, and if I could go over to Burbank or wherever DC Studios is, this is what you guys are missing. This is what you guys are missing. And to be honest with you, I know, call me Snyder Bros, Snyder Bot, fuck you in advance. I got that from Man of Steel. I got that from BBS. I got that from Zack Snyder's Justice League. I got that from Wonder Woman. I even got that from one of the silliest comic book movies I've ever seen in my life, in Aquaman. It was awe-inspiring. And I just haven't had that from DC since. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. This regal feeling, this feeling that you're in for something big, that you're in for something. This trailer, whatever you want to call it, teaser, felt important. So, yeah. Not saying you need to copy everything they do. I don't think copy anything they do. But in your own way, create that sense of wonderment, that sense of awe. They just haven't done it yet. So, yes, hit the like button for fun and profit. Well, profit shit. It's hard to make a profit on YouTube these days. They've changed the game. Oh, by the way, hey, speaking of Comic-Con, there's still time to make sure that I'm not out there fighting for squirrels.
William froze. Guess the squirrels can. Man, William froze right when he was in the middle of talking about PayPal and everything for the for Comic-Con. We're waiting for him to come back. Hopefully be just a little temporary kind of hiccup. Man, what happened to William there? Okay, he's coming back in. He's coming back in, guys. Okay, there he goes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
fucking hold on.
Yeah.
Fucking lousy, expensive, overpriced. Yes, thank you guys. I know I'm frozen. I set up immediately when I'm frozen because I start getting that circle and the whole thing goes in circles. And that's how I know it's me. But thank you. Thank you for people who are giving me the heads up. Real quick, fuck Cox. If you were free, if you were cheap, you know what? This would be acceptable. But you're not. You are not getting a refund here. Anyway, yeah, if you don't want to see me fighting the homeless to get the best stuff that's in the garbage can, if you want me to actually be in a dwelling, things like that, maybe have a good time. Who knows? Get some really unhealthy food. You know, I love my giant sausages with the unhealthy bacon wrapped around them, and I know exactly where that vendor's been there the last 3 years, and this is year number 4. I know I'm at Comic-Con when I get my arteries filled with one of those. If you want to, and if you want to do your own show, Larry has had to reschedule. We're going to do our Larry show, and I've got a couple other people. But if you want to do a show with us, if you want to do, do a topic or come on the show, I will be doing some open panel with donors, things like that. If you want to do that, there's your link, and it's in the description. So there you go. But yeah, Comic-Con is. I can't wait to get on that plane and get the hell out of Vegas for a couple of days because it's been humid here and I'm not a fish. So there. All right. Stephanie Page 4334. First time I've recognized your name here, so welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Presents. Was Thor on Earth 9 the century Thor in the 9th century because Peter called Thor. Okay, can you retype that, please? I want to be able to answer your question, but I don't know if I'm reading it right. How you doing, Dan? What's going on? How well do you think in-game re-release will do theatrically? I think it will do okay. I don't know if it's going to ever do the crazy numbers it did originally, but if they add something relevant to Doomsday and Secret Wars, I think that enough people will eat it up to make it. It's already made. I think it's nearing $3 billion. I think it'll do just fine. I think it'll make another couple $100 million if they put something in there, because Marvel MCU fans will eat that shit up. Me personally, I'm far too cheap to go to, unless they re-release with some significant changes and it's not just a post-credit scene. So say, for instance, they're going to say that, something's happened in the timeline that is affected, or there's something that they're adding to, like when Captain America goes back in time and fucks up everything. If they're going to actually make that relevant and put something around that, then I might go see it, because now it's not the same movie. It's in game, but it's augmented stuff. But I think it's going to do just fine. I think it's going to do just fine. Damien, what's wrong with this thing's not highlighting? So hope you guys have a good show. Thank you. I'm trying to. All right. Tickets went on sale. I'm not even going to be involved in that madness of trying to scramble and get tickets. We're just going to do exactly what I'm doing for Spider-Man. Brand new day. I'm just going to run out the data. I don't like to, because when shit starts selling out, you start getting shitty seats. You got to be nope. We're going to. I can already tell you right now, December 19th. December 17th. We will. You can ink that in. We will be, if you're in the Vegas area, we will be one of the first people to see it, because I know that they're not going to do pre-screenings for this because of all the spoilers and shit that they don't want out there. So, all you cosplayers hanging around Vegas, all you people dressed up, this is going to be a night for you. I know it's going to be a pretty big night. So yeah, I am not going to do the ticket sales thing. I'm just going to go ahead and rent the theater out with 50, 60, sometimes 80. One time we did 84 of my closest friends to be there. Reached agreement somewhere else sounds shady. No, just reached an agreement. Most people don't want to. Nobody has fucking time to be sitting in court, dude. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources, and most courts will give you every opportunity to mediate things and get it out of their courtroom because they got a full docket. So yeah. Do I agree with Feige feeling like a failure over the
Oh yeah, I
development
saw that.
of?
Where it's like he was. I haven't watched the interview because it was Josh Horowitz, but yeah, that quote emerged where he kind of, I'm gonna say, admitted defeat on Blade, where it's like, because I mean, how long ago was that? That's about
I
like 8 years ago now.
hold on.
God damn, William's freezing again. Uh. Speak of the devil, Aaron says. Okay, there we go. Is that working better?
Okay, it's something's wrong with StreamYard in conjunction with Cox. It's not, guys. I know. Thanks. Um, go back to what was, I didn't. That's not what we had on.
Well, it was I just said it was Aaron's. You've
The
speculated
failure,
that he. Where is it? Where is it up here? Well, it was about Now here it is from Mighty Rex. Do you agree with Feige feeling like a failure of the development of Blade?
Okay, this isn't. This is. Brad should be freezing as well. Is it just me? Hold on.
Yeah, am I freezing, guys? Let's see. Yeah.
You just froze right now for me.
All right, I'm gonna step out and come back in.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to get this answered real quick before we freeze again. I think it was a failure to even announce Blade, to even attempt to do Blade at the time that they were doing Blade. So in that I will agree that that's a failure. I thought that Blade should have always been incorporated into what Blade is as part of the supernatural. I don't think Blade should have ever been in a post-credit scene in Bucking Eternals. That was stupid. I don't know why there was a rush to announce Blade when they did, because at no point in time during that last 8-9 years since they've done so did it ever fit. Did it ever make sense? Now, under these circumstances, it would. And if you are going to bring Blade in, it should have never been as a solo movie. It should have been via It would have been. It would have made more sense for Blade to be in Multiverse of Madness than it ever did in Eternals. So I think a lot of mistakes were made then. I think they had a 2-time Academy Award winner, or 1 time at that time, our Academy Award winner, top tier actor come to them with an idea, and it's hard to say no when you have that kind of hardware in your favor. But yeah, I don't as far as him feeling like a failure, nah, I think in that instance it was just a mistake to even attempt to do a Blade movie at that point. And now you have the circumstances. He says it's still in development, which means to me, I think, and going with what Aaron said, I think, and I have no inside information, this is just common sense speaking for me, that Mahershala Ali should be in this movie. Both him and Wesley Snipes should be literally fighting side by side, and Wesley Snipes' character either gets disappeared or pruned or killed, and that Blade going forward would be your Blade. I just don't know even beyond that point, unless you have another Doctor Strange movie and then put him in another Doctor Strange movie, or see what his reception is. He's not an A-list character, and Marvel got themselves into a little bit of a rut by doing stringing along A-list characters that aren't draws. I almost said Doctor Doom. Doctor Strange is a draw.
Daredevil argument.
I know. I can't. I need to write it
down. That one. I don't know why you keep making that.
I don't know, because I look at when I'm at the store and I look at my shelf, they're in order, and that's the alphabetical order. It's whatever. But Doctor Strange is a massive conduit for everything that Blade is. That is a natural fit to introduce him into. No other place, not in the solo movie, and not in a Black Knight, whatever they were going to do. No, so yeah, there was a lot of mistakes made, but I don't. He's done so well in so many other things that he gets the mulligan. But if we're gonna do a Blade movie, now is the time to get him on the screen. Now is the time to give the audience, because you got your A-listers on there, so he doesn't need to be a draw. So he just needs to be there, and then you judge. Hey, how did the audience? It's gonna be like Lobo. It's even if you sift through the wreckage that is the Supergirl box office and all the other stuff, there are still a way for the people to do measurables as far as how did people respond to Lobo. Even the people who hate the movie have an opinion about Lobo. Is it worth us going forward with Jason Momoa and this character? And that's the kind of things you can find out under any circumstances about Blade. Is there a market for Blade? Is there a market for the generation that the bulk of the money is going to be made with? Not the people who are, rolling into their 50s and 60s that saw Wesley Snipes. Is there a market for you to spend 2026 money on Blade? That's what you need to find out first. And I think that's what their mistake was. They don't make very many mistakes. But I think this was one of them. And at least he's open about it. Marvel fans, we got Doomsday. DC fans, we got a problem. I wish I had better. I only have 2 box office adventures to judge the box office status
and
right now.
They're both on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, one of them was good enough, and the other one was not good at all. And now I have a year to think about that, which is, I think that's the biggest problem, is you have a year for that to sit.
When you've got in the interim, a $40 million horror movie that's it's going to add some data to that box office wise, but of course, not going to do Superman numbers. It might barely do Supergirl numbers.
Yeah, even if it's a hit, it's not the kind of volume you need. I don't know. I hope it has to be. At some point, these DC movies have to feel like that trailer would. I don't want you to copy Marvel. I'm not saying that. But I need to feel that sense of that, oh shit. I'm about to dive into something just, larger than life. And that's what the Marvel movies have had. That's what Zack Snyder's movies had. Say what you want, whether you like them or not. They had a larger-than-life presence. They had a mythology about them. The Marvel movies have a mythology about them that just lets you in, and they need to refocus Superman on that. There's a difference between a comic book and a comic book movie adaptation. I think people, when they say it's just like it's off the page, it's the way it's supposed to be. No, it's supposed to look and sound like it's or read like it's on the page. A fucking comic book is. Movies, when I put a comic book in its category, it is reading material, it's entertainment. When I put a movie in its category, a movie is in the same category as The Godfather, as Blade Runner, as A Few Good Men. When you watch a movie, there's a certain sense of awe that you need to feel that you just can't always get. There's awe in a comic book, yes, but it's different for a moviegoer. So I need something that gives me, in the DC that gives me that Godfather feel about it. That gives me that, just name your movie. Just name your larger than life movie that's just a Dune. Dune is the size and scope of Dune blows you away. Even if you don't know shit about Frank Herbert, you don't know shit about the lore. The size and scope of Dune blows you away. And that's the same thing with most of the MCU when they're doing right. And that was the same thing when I saw an entire planet of Krypton, and then in that scale of that battle in BBS, that all that stuff was larger than life. And nothing that James Gunn, and all the respect to James Gunn, nothing he's done so far is that larger than life. And we're talking about superheroes, which by default are larger than life. So I hope Man of Tomorrow vibe will be this good, but I don't know. They're going to have to make some major adjustments. Who grabbed the hammer from Thor? That was Steve Rogers.
Yeah. It's because, in Avengers Endgame, they began playing the seeds for that in Age of Ultron when they're at the party scene. They're having the contest of who can lift the hammer, and he manages to nudge a little bit, and then they pay that off in Endgame during the final battle with Thanos when Steve, he's worthy, puts up his hand, picks up the hammer. And again, it's that was definitely an audience reaction moment that was very unforgettable. I definitely will always cherish that. Although I will say for as much applause as that got, I do think that Toby and Andrew coming back, that did edge it out just a little bit as far as applause.
The fatigue is there now. The A-listers make money, then eventually they don't want to. I think that's bullshit. And the A-listers always made money. The A-listers never not made. They never failed to draw. The problem is this entire universe is set up on A-listers. So when you have your A-listers out there, then you can throw out your B's and Z's. That's always been the case. There's no fatigue there. There's just a cause and effect. If you stop, they never got tired of seeing the Z-listers. They just never cared about them without the A-listers in the first place. Now you don't have that situation. So I think the comic book fatigue thing is another one of those tropes that where you don't want to look deeper into shit, so you just say the first thing that you heard somebody else say. And I'm not saying that's necessarily you, Forth, but you're about to find out, because right now, in between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, they can release a Z-lister, and guess what? That Z-lister is going to make money. It's going to make money, and it doesn't even need to be a good movie. So that tosses the fatigue argument out the window for me.
I think I might have asked this question before, but is there anybody, that's ever, again, you've said, you've spent like anybody who's basically ever done a Marvel movie or Marvel TV show, like anybody who's like had the Marvel logo like in front of them on any kind of production is going to have some kind of presence in this movie. Is there anybody who you would write off as far as like returning? And I think you said like one time you said maybe Anna Paquin for health reasons, which
because it depends on. I don't know what her health situation is.
I was where she had one.
I know she's retired from acting, but I if she's healthy enough to be there, I wouldn't even count her out. Do you think Mary's going to be there?
Do you think Famke Janssen's kind of BSing us, where she says like she wasn't even invited back?
I think that's a lie. I don't think it's a lie, but yeah.
What do you think that's misdirection?
Yeah, I think everybody you ask is gonna lie about it because they've been told to, and they probably.
Well, again, it's the same thing. It's like you can only do that once Andrew's on the press tour having to deny it. Like,
this is a bit different because we're talking about a narrow cast of people. We're only talking about two other extra people that we're guessing that were in there, and they didn't do anything to hide it. There's a lot of people that could be in this movie, and they are doing an effort to hide it. Like right now, it's not like they did a horrible. They did a half-assed job.
It was an open secret. It was an open secret with No Way Home
that they promoted when they put that trailer out there, and there's a fucking gap in there. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they released shit to the people who know who had big mouths. They did that shit on purpose.
Like Campia, he got. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying. That's why I bring up No Way Home is because it's like because. It's
nobody's gonna believe them.
Yeah, it's The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Where it's like that was such an open secret, and of course, then once the cat was officially out of the bag, it's like we didn't buy it that time. It's like now we know people are really not gonna buy it. When they say, definitely not coming back.
I think the difference between this and that, because like I said, two people versus maybe there's like 30 or 40 people that could pop up out of nowhere.
And how long? This has got to be a 3-hour movie too, right?
It's like 2 hours and 45. No, it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. I heard, but I got to look.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I know, not just a cameo. I expect Doctor Strange. He's very critical.
Yeah.
If you look at the end of Multiverse of Madness, he's dealing with this shit directly. I expect to see him and be a serious part of this movie. Is Doctor Doom worse than Thanos? He can be. He can be. In this particular version of him, I think is far more dangerous. Thanos did not have the ability to affect the multiverse the way Doctor Doom will have if he gets his hands on what Loki has access to. It's just like the same thing in the comics. For those of you who watched or saw the original Secret Wars, Doctor Doom usurps the Beyonder's powers. So Doctor Doom on his own is a brilliant genius. But what he ends up doing a lot is stealing people's powers and stealing their abilities. And I think he's very much going to do the same with Loki, to where he gets access to what Loki has at the end of season. So, yes, he could be, if this iteration that they're about to tell you about, this version of him, he's way more dangerous than Thanos. It could be. And plus, he's dealing with time and realities, which are volatile to begin with. So he's not only is he more dangerous in an adversarial way, he could be more dangerous in a just a cause and effect way, because he's not going to have full control over the things that Loki has. So yeah, he might cause damage just by trying to take his do the same for scrolls for this connection, super scrolls. Okay, blah blah blah. Going down. If Shang-Chi is integral to the plot, can Iron Fist appear? Anybody could appear. I doubt it.
Well, I remember
Shang-Chi's been on a movie.
I remember I actually wrote about this at the time. The initial reporting, this is like 2000, circa like 2016, that he was going to appear. Like Shang-Chi they were going to kind of like do with him what they did with like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, where he was going to be on Iron Fist, and that was going to backdoor pilot for his show. And then for whatever reason, I guess they just decided, okay, we're going to take that and just give him his own movie. And
which was weird because that's what I mean. You know, it was a
like
good movie.
Of the two, of them, I would say like Iron Fist is probably was the one who had like the more public notoriety. Prior to them getting the show and getting the movie, and I mean now they're pretty well even.
Okay, I don't expect to see Iron Fist there because Iron Fist is on a different format. But then again, it's all Marvel. It's a phone call. Shang-Chi, if you saw the movie, I believe has significant things to do in the movie outside of just a cameo.
Well, he's fighting Gambit.
So, but I think if you watch the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. There are things in that movie that I think would make him very relevant to what's about to happen. So,
I think I know. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, and Iron Fist doesn't even have that kind of relevance on fucking Netflix. So, over Broken Bed, I didn't have to sue over that.
Although I bet you could have.
But they there was no harm, no foul, nobody got hurt, and
luckily.
yeah, it could have been a disaster, but they took care of me. I mean, I got a nice meal out of that. If I drank liquor, they gave me a liquor. They gave me. You usually have to have a key or a code. They gave me the code to the liquor cabinet. All I did was drink all the Mountain Dew that was in there, but there was wine and shit in there. And you saw the bed. I had a for those of you who weren't focusing on my pants like a bunch of fucking weirdos, that bed was like that Tempur-Pedic shit with the you could warm it up and it wow, I slept like dude.
Oh man, I remember those commercials.
Hard
I remember those commercials for the Tempur-Pedic where they had like they put the wine glass in there, have the guy like jump on the bed.
Up and down. Yeah,
it's like, oh, he won't knock over a wine glass.
I don't know if it was Tempur. It was something like that. I to tell you what, I don't know. And plus, it was 39 hours straight, so I was already.
Oh yeah, you probably just slept on like a concrete slab and been dead to the world.
But I didn't want to even get up out of bed. And I got up late. I got up late Sunday because there was very few things that we needed to do, and I was flying out early. So I went to Comic-Con and met up with Rhea and Phil, and we took our last minute pictures, and I got the hell out of there. But and I did some. I got some interviews and stuff done. But yeah, I didn't have to sue them over that. They refunded me. They gave me an upgrade, a room. They gave me a room. They gave me They gave me a meal voucher. There was food already in it. They gave me they you know what? I mean, it made for a hilarious story after, while I was going through it, but I was on 100% adrenaline caffeine because that was the best Comic-Con I'd been to. That was and I appreciated that. Even with all the crazy shit that went on in 2024, I appreciated 2024 after the malaise that was 2025. And I'm hoping to right that wrong because I'm hoping to have a lot of fun this year, a couple of days. I can't stand Simu. I couldn't.
I like him.
I thought it was all right. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but I don't think it had to be. I think in order for it to be great for me, it would have to give me a premise, but I don't think they're ready to give us that right now. And it didn't matter. This movie's going to sell out. Marvel has $2 billion, possibly $2 billion movie on their hands. They may make $3 billion with just 2 movies this year. I think Spider-Man is going to do very well. I think Spider-Man is going to be the highest grossing movie of the year, to be honest with you. And it's going to be. I can't wait to finally get back into the thing because I've been waiting for the A-listers as well. So, let's see. It really doesn't until a certain point. It would fit in now. It would fit because you've already shown him in Daredevil. Oh, sorry. God damn it. I even
see, I told you, it's like you constantly
Deadpool, Wolverine. So you've seen Wesley Snipes play, so you've introduced him. So even if people
because they both wear red.
Yeah, even if you weren't even born when Blade came out, you've now seen him in one of the highest grossing R-rated movies ever. So you know who he is. So now you bring him in. Perfect time to bring him in. He's fighting a variant of him. He's fighting for his life, and he's fighting alongside, like he's about to get his head chopped off, and there's another sword that comes in, and there's Mahershala Ali holding a sword, and they both start chopping and killing and just wiping people out, and then a fucking arrow or something takes out Blade or Wesley Snipes Blade, or the universe is starting to consolidate, so people are just starting to dissipate and disappear, and he's one of them. And he's like, "You can take it from here." He's like, "I will." And then that's kind of shit like that. That's how you introduce Blade. That's how you do. And then the next time, if you don't want to do a movie with him because you don't know what the response is from all that ensemble cast, next Doctor, because there's going to be another Doctor Strange movie. There's going to be, especially after all this shit. He's going to be like the explainer for all this stuff. You got to put him in Doctor Strange. Then you build from them. So yeah. But right now, Blade didn't fit into anything, anything that they were trying to do at the time that they announced him. That's why I was wondering. I remember telling somebody that movie may never happen, because at the time that they announced it, everything that they were doing fit into the overarching narrative that they were telling you. And I'm like, that just makes no sense. And here we go, 8-9 years later, Blade should come to our world like Dr. Octopus did. But he might, and it'll be a variant. But
are you talking about
world? Yeah, he says he should be a variant.
I think he's talking about are you talking about either Wesley Snipes or Ali, like zapped into the MCU from like their universe?
What they're about to do, I think.
A lot of people are, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, they're all doing that.
But I think in the case of Mahershala Ali's Blade, he won't be the variant. He will be a variant, but they will be somewhere when the universe consolidates, and he would be your Blade going forward. So he could start out as a variant, but once the sacred timeline occurs, he won't be. The one that'll get wiped away would be Wesley Snipes' version. It didn't seem like a priority. It just wasn't working. Yeah, it wasn't a priority because I don't think they really, and no one will ever say this, but I don't even think he really wanted to do it. He had Mahershala Ali, some Oscar-winning talent come to you. I think it's hard to say no because you want your product associated with that prestige. I still haven't seen Odyssey. It's a damn shame. Finally saw Odyssey on that 40x screen. I was surprised how packed the theater was. Apparently, it's doing really well. So I have not. It's probably going to be a San Diego thing for me, or maybe when I get back from San Diego because the schedule is packed. Blade can survive without being in someone else's movie. No, he can't. Doctor Strange can be Blade's movie. Be in Blade's movie as a cameo. No. And I think that's the primary reason they never went forward. He just wasn't a draw. He just wasn't a draw for the money you would spend, And then you people can refute this, but Kevin Feige is pretty much telling you this. The fact that you don't have it tells you volumes. It speaks out. Let's see.
By the way, also,
skip this movie CG3.
It's there's a little bit of a with Spider-Man. We've been news floating around what it is confirmed that Brand New Day does take place before Doomsday. So does that give any odds one way or another about Holland Spider-Man being in it, or do you think they're going to maybe save him for Secret Wars?
That he'll be in Doomsday? I don't know.
Because I think anybody who's not in Doomsday is probably going to be in Secret Wars. Is kind of
that would be. But see, he's around already. So
because as big of the scale as they're going through in like the whole multiverse element, you can still only get like so many people in one movie. If you make it 3 hours long, it's like.
And I don't think they're going to have. I don't think some of these characters that are listed on these seats are probably going to have maybe a minute or two. Some people think that this Steve Rogers we saw in the trailer might be Hydra Captain America. I'm going to say no, absolutely not. And there's one reason that would never happen, because the Hammer would know. The Hammer would not go to him. The Hammer goes to Steve Rogers because he's worthy. And if he were Hydra, I think. And I'm not saying, Mohammed, you would not see the Hydra variant of Steve Rogers in the movie. I'm just saying that the one that we saw in that trailer would not have worked because the Hammer would have known. Now, outside of that,
that's why it's also definitely not Loki getting that hammer.
Well, Loki could get the hammer. The Loki that was the.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So it's like Loki circa Avengers wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, but I don't think Loki's doing any shapeshifting. I think Loki's only purpose is going to be what we saw him be. Here's the thing that while I think that Thor's hammer would not fly to him if he was Hydra, hell no. If I'm Thor's hammer, And you're looking at Steve Rogers. And he was tasked to go back and put that stone where he was supposed to put it and come back. And instead, he's like, wow, 70 years, I missed out on all kinds of ass, especially that ass. I want it. I'm staying. Is he still worthy? Maybe.
Well, he is America's ass,
Yeah, but he fucked up the entire timeline just to get him something. So I don't know, man. Gunn should fire all of his arrows at Man Tomorrow by Peter. Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't know if you can do it now, but
there's and I know William's not a big fan of rumors, but there's some I've seen floating around that one of Bloodsport might be in it. There's also a report that Zachary Levi visited the set, so
yeah, but he'll talk himself out of the job. That won't last.
That is true. Yeah,
he'll get on the internet and say something dumb, and it'll be like,
and
we had to edit him out.
And you know what? I'll even put, well, because politics, actors making mistakes. It's like that. We've said that about people we like that we want to see return to different roles. That should never like permanently put anybody off the table unless they're doing something like child abuse or what have you. That said, you remember what I've said also about I think Corn Sweat would have made a better Shazam than a Superman. Well, Zach, if you got the call and you need a Shazam, I'm just saying,
I think that anybody could have made a decent Shazam because all Zachary Levi did is that's how they wrote him. That's how they wrote him. Now, if you actually read a Shazam comic, it's a little bit different. He doesn't have a childlike personality. He has the wisdom of Solomon. He does not have a childlike personality. He doesn't. Most versions I've read. Let me give you one because there's been a lot of versions. Maybe some of them I don't read. Most versions I have read, he when he becomes Shazam, Captain Marvel, when he uses the power of Shazam, he is as every bit heroic as Superman was. Anything was. He doesn't. The child does not transform over to him. So they made a decision with that. That was one of the few things that I did not like about the original Shazam. There's a lot of things I didn't like about Fury of the Gods. So most of the movie. But
it's definitely the weaker of the two,
and it should have never been made. But you can say the same thing about Shazam because of where you're giving me a guy in the cave with an emblem on the chest, this emblem, but he's not Superman, so you're already losing the battle there or the bat. But that being said, Shazam is one of my favorite movies. There's a turning point in that movie to where he searches out his mother. He treats all of his foster family like shit.
Yeah,
and even though they're
treat him like shit.
They're reaching out to him. They're trying to make a life for themselves, and he says some really awful things to the one girl. And I was like, "Man, you're a piece of shit." And then he goes and runs off to meet his mother, and she's an absolute piece of dog shit. And then when that door closes, and when he turns around, and then at this point,
jumps off the roof,
but remember he turns around and he realizes that they're in danger. That was such a metaphorical turning point. I love the way it was shot.
Open another, yeah.
And then my favorite scene, and I have T-shirts of that where because that was a symbol of the movie when he's jumping out.
He's in silhouette.
Yeah, I love that scene. That's one of my favorite comic book movies. Shouldn't have been made when it was made, but
it's interesting with that one specifically because that was in the initial slate layout. That was part of the slate announcement from BVS through everything they had. So it wasn't something they greenlit just in lieu of that. And I think actually with that one, because that came, it wasn't that long after the theatrical Justice League came out. So, and that had a year and a half. It was like April 2000.
Did it come out 18 or 19?
19. Yeah. So it was about a year and a half later, and it had it had a lot of references to do Freddy has the Batarang in his room. He's got there's Superman. Remember, they got the Justice League.
Yeah, it's part of it's definitely part of the DCEU.
So I think with that, it's the only. He had the Superman cameo actually showing his face, and then Cavill. See, I think that was envisioned as initially as being a lot more directly tethered to those movies, and then what happened with Justice League happened, and then the politics of Cavill happened, and then that severed a lot of those ties that it was meant to have, but I think it was. It wasn't one they just said, okay, let's make Shazam because we're not going to do Superman, we're not going to do Justice League, we're not going to do
No,
Batman.
it was a movie without an infrastructure. That's a problem. I think that once they knew before they made Shazam what the state of their creative situation was, and if you were not going to go forward with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman in the way that they were intended to, then you shouldn't have made a Shazam movie. Even though I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie, I have to be
It's a
honest.
great Christmas movie too.
Yeah, it's I never think of it as a Christmas movie, but that's fine. I never think of Batman Returns as a Christmas movie. I think of it as not a very good Batman movie.
It's a blue Christmas movie.
But yeah, I think under different circumstances we could have made that work, but we didn't. Do you think they'll promote Doomsday? Oh yes, definitely. Oh, dude, the entirety of Sam Bernardino. What the fuck? I'm not going back home.
Daredevil and Deadpool.
There's similar words. It's late night and I'm hungry. San Diego's got the gas lamp where you enter the gas lamp archway that says gas lamp district. They have replaced that with Avengers Doomsday. They got Avengers Doomsday shit all over down. I'm going to show you guys when I get down there and we do our walk around. There's all kinds of Doomsday shit. It's all about Doomsday. So yeah, they are going to promote the fuck out of it. It's going to be fun. I'm gonna do my best to bring you as much footage from Hall H as we can, and as much add-on stuff as we can. So I will be there starting Wednesday night. Yes, yeah, I do think they will.
Is there any what's like your biggest thing you're looking forward to there outside of DC cinematically? Cinematically, we're not really getting anything. We're just getting the Lanterns kind of panel isolation. Then Marvel's got all kinds of stuff. But outside of that, is there anything that really like DC, as a brand, their biggest thing they're going to have this year really is Absolute.
Me personally, or for me to cover for you guys?
Yeah, let's say both.
Me personally, it's going to be Blade Runner 2099. Yeah. Blade Runner in general is a religion to me that I will never let go of, and it has never failed me. Blade Runner has never failed to give me quality. The comic books, everything that they've done has been quality. They did one of the hardest things that you could ever do, which is make a sequel 30 some odd years after the original, and make it a better movie, in my opinion, than the first one. And they continue to build on this. They continue to recognize what's special about it. So seeing and they've kept everything about Blade Runner 2099 completely secret for the most part, besides the casting and some of the premise. And now for the first time, I get to see, and I get a date. So I'm super excited about that. So outside of the Lanterns and DC stuff, and then everything else is just going to be, I'm going to make it a point this year to just go to a lot of different panels and meet people and a lot of the interviews. I'm going to warn you guys right now, are not going to be household names. I'm gonna do interviews of opportunity. I got a guy from Ahoy Comics. You may not know who the hell he is, but he's an independent comic book creator. I have the guy. In fact, he just messaged me right now. We're going to meet up. He has a movie short that he is going to have at the Comic-Con Film Festival. I'm going to see if I can get a few more of those guys. I'm going to see. I've asked, and I was going to let you guys know, but I never got a response. I will be at the White Dragon panel on Friday night, and I will see if I can get a hold of her and see if we can get a quick interview. I highly doubt that that'll happen. I would rather get an email back saying yay or nay, but I don't like going up to people and say, hey, you have 5 minutes. It's kind of creepy, but I will cover that panel. So there's going to be a lot of things that are not household names, and I'm going to try to hit up, because a lot of the household name stuff is going to have really long lines, and I'm not going to really get close. Like the Lanterns HQ thing was a scam. I can't get into that unless I get a press pass in, and I don't know if I'm going to get that in. Hall H I can get into as long as I'm willing to work, But there are a lot of things going on at Comic-Con. There are a lot of different panels. So I'm looking forward to experiencing the convention instead of wasting a lot of time on certain things. I'm going to be spending some time at Hall H and getting into Hall H. But I got a group that I'm going with, and we're going to, make it so that we're not missing out on things as we try to maintain a presence there. But as far as the content I'm looking forward to most outside of the DC and Marvel stuff, if not above, that is Blade Runner 2099. I cannot wait to have this show in front of me. So there we go. All right, let's see. I apparently, I saw the Rocketeer in the movie. That movie didn't do well, but it's Rocketeer.
Yeah,
So.
that kind of yeah, because I mean that during in the period between like Batman '89 and X-Men, I mean it was Batman movies throughout the '90s as far as like the A-list like big known universally known characters, and then again everything else we were getting those CBMs during that time. It was like we got the Rocketeer, we got the Shadow, we got the Phantom, we got the Crow, we got Mystery Men, we got Blade, which Blade was actually kind of the high watermark box.
But see, half of those movies, almost every one of those movies, were made because they were cheap to get the IP rights for. Crow cost them pennies. Blade was a discount. In fact, Marvel didn't even make any money off of Blade because of the deal that they signed. Most of those movies were at the mass. These are movies that no one even knew they were comic books. The difference between, and the same thing with the Rocketeer, nobody knew it was a comic book.
Which that was one definitely a big relic of my childhood. If I'd ever share the story of my mom actually introduced me to the Rocketeer specifically because she wanted me to put on something other than Superman and Batman at that age. No, we're gonna broaden your horizons, son. And I didn't take to it as much like it when I was like 5 or 6 because it's really steeped in like World War II history, and you appreciate it as you kind of have a little bit more knowledge of that period.
Harrison Ford and neither him or Ryan Gosling are part of Blade 120. This is 50 years after 2049. So, random question. I'm about to wrap this up, but I can't do what I did last night. I thought a California judge blocked a Paramount owner right to deed.
I'm gonna tack on a Shabby's question here. It's like, why do you think, even in light of this, why do you think it's still likely the merge still likely to go through?
Because the LFCs are ill-advised and determined. It shouldn't even be happening. If we're talking about dollars and cents and actual good business and value for your stockholders, is what your job is to do, is the people who publicly invest in your company. It is your job to safeguard their investment, and in turn, your investment grows because you get more stockholders. They're doing their stockholders a disservice right now with this. But I think because there's ego involved, and the Ellsons are involved, and they feel that. But here's another big problem. We have not brought this up here on this show. Look at the market capital. Look at the value of the company that is even making this all possible, Oracle. Go ahead and Google Oracle's decline in value in the last 6 months, in the last year. They've lost almost 48% of the value of the company. So that's the engine where this money is coming from, when it's not coming from overseas, that engine has lost half of its muster. So this is going to go by, because if you have enough people that are determined to push a car up a hill, eventually they're going to get that car up the hill. Now, you're going to feel like shit, and the car might be crap by the time you get up there, and you might even be dead, but you know what? You got up the hill. That's where I think this merger is, because all these things that are being tacked onto this merger are all these delays. Time is not their friend. These delays, but their stubbornness, their mentality is like, we're bigger than the world. Nobody can stop us. We got connections. This merger is going through. We said it's going to go through. And I think now, because if we're being, sensible about it, you're a 40-something billion dollar company purchasing a $110 billion company with $80 billion of borrowed money with interest. And I don't even know if you can run Paramount, because right as you bought Paramount, you turned around and you're trying to get Warner Brothers. And your stockholders, if I was a stockholder of Paramount right now, I'd be pissed. Because even if this goes through, exactly what happened with the Warner Brothers mergers, that debt load reduces your value per dollar. So your Paramount, you're already debt. Now you're assuming debt and interest. Not only are you assuming Warner Brothers debt, you borrowed money to assume their debt. And now, in order for that all to work for you, it had to go like this. Everything had to work in sequence, so you had a chance to turn around and start earning some of this money back. The money's already been loaned. The money's already been guaranteed by the lenders. So all this is out there. So right now, as we speak, they're accruing interest on that. And if you're a stockholder, I'm like, at what point do you say, fuck this, I'm selling? And if you have a sell-off of stock, that decreases the value. And what David Zaslav's doing, David Zaslav knows what's going to happen. David Zaslav is getting this shit done because even if this merger happens, you're going to create a combined stock that ain't going to be worth shit for a long time. So he's like, let me get my shit out of here before it's worth half as much as it's going to worth. And then, the only thing that will make their stock jump is if the merger was dissolved, because then you're not having all this entanglement. But yeah, I at this moment at 12:51, I take the merger 7/21/26 merger goes to. I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up tomorrow though, and it didn't, because if we reach September 30th and they got to start doling out $7 million a day. I wouldn't give $7 million to somebody.
That's their kind of their deadline before to get this thing closed before they're paying.
And that's Paramount stockholders. That's not even that's Warner Brothers stockholders. If you're a Paramount stockholder and not only was this on shaky ground to begin with, but now we got to pay these fools that may not even merge with us. We got to pay these fools $7 million a day. You do the math. Say if this lasts 4 months. Say this lasts a quarter, right? Do the math on that one. It's a lot of money for nothing. So yeah, we'll delve into that. Isn't it doing? I don't know about rioting because there's going to be a lot of other characters. I think it would be a missed opportunity if you truly believe in going forward with Mahershala Ali as Blade. I think not having him in Doomsday or Secret Wars would be a missed opportunity, but not the end of the world. Question: do you think it's possible to forgive someone that sexually assaulted someone? Ooh, wow, where did this come from, Chappie? I can't answer this. I would say no. I don't know. This is not even I don't know why I brought this up. I'm going to say no. Without knowing the context of the situation, I'm going to say you lost me at sexual assault. So that's where I'm going to put that. Sorry.
Yeah, a bit of a.
Yeah, very very random. That was a mega moment. Yeah, all right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I will probably see you again on Wednesday evening after previews night. So that's what we're going to. We are going to wrap this night up. Like I said, tonight was unexpected because I did not think that the trailer was coming on today. So I look forward to be bringing you as much of the and a much higher quality that I've been able to do the last 3 years. I've been looking at some of my streams from the last 3 years, especially 2023. Oh my God. 2024, I thought I did as good a job as I could given the circumstances. 2025 just sucked because there wasn't really a lot to cover. I did what I could with the equipment that I had because of sponsorships and donations and things like that. I got some higher end equipment, so you guys should notice the difference in the quality of the picture, the sound, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to have fun for this next 5.5 days, and then come back with hopefully a good Comic-Con under my wing, and have that carry it for the rest of 2026, like the previous Comic-Cons, not 2025, have done. So that's it. Next time I see you, it will be from beautiful San Diego, California. And everybody else, just be safe, have fun, whatever it is you're doing. I will see you Wednesday evening.
See you guys.